and it's measured out. I usually end up with around, per the day, I'm staying around 800-900 calories a day through the week with an hour and a half cardio and usually an hour and 20 minutes working out. That's every day.
What's up guys, Derek, moreplatesmoredates.com. Today we are reacting to mid-50s fucking stacked, eating 800 to 900 calories a day. Fuck off, crying, laughing face, the Bell Life on YouTube. No fucking way, bro. So this was posted on the subreddit 2 days ago. We're now up to 76,000 following the ancestral tenets, bro. 416 eating liver. My fucking voice just gave out. But it's fine. Here we go. 800 to 900 milligrams trend, top comment. So basically he says 800 to 900 calories a day and an hour and a half of cardio and weight training on more compounds than Jay Cutler. How is it even possible as a non-infant to eat triple digit calories? So anyways, a lot of people are like, bullshit, what the fuck? Like, why is he putting out this garbage information? So I want to go listen for myself. This guy is pretty stacked. Like, he actually looks like a, I don't know, like a fucking WWE fighter or like or a wrestler, I should say, or actor, whatever you want to call people in WWE. They're actually like good athletes though, even though it's like, you know, some scripted shit. But he looks pretty mean. Like, who the fuck does he remind me of? Was it there's somebody in the UFC, I swear, in the heavyweight division who looked like this guy. Maybe it was, I could have sworn Lesnar fought some guy that looked like this. But anyways, getting into the video, it's 34 fucking minutes. So we're gonna be jumping around a little bit. This could easily turn into an hour-long video otherwise. So here he mentions what kind of a calorie allotment he's seen individuals have success with that seems to be like a good starting point for men and for women.
Extra calories. That's obviously where you want to be. You want to be in the fat burning, calorie burning stage. But when you sit and eat 3,000, 4,000, 5,000 calories a day, no, that's not going to work. Women, 1,200 calories a day. Men, 1,500 calories a day. Cardio, 30 minutes a day, period. I don't care if you walk, run, jog, sprint, whatever you want to do. I like cardio. And let me tell you something. There's dietitians. I'm not a dietitian. I'm not a doctor. I don't have any kind of PhD.
This is just what works for him.
This is just what works for me.
Okay, so he gives the disclaimer. He's not a doctor. He's not a PhD. He's not a dietitian. Just what works for him. But he is saying that what makes, you know, seems to be reasonable for getting results consistently with men and women is women, you know, 1,200, men, 1,500, you know, cardio, 30 minutes a day. Doesn't matter what you're doing. And you'll lose weight. And it's like, yeah, I agree. You probably will, dude. The only, well, you definitely will. The thing is these starting calorie allotments, they definitely lead to a kind of unsustainable regimen whereby unless you are the most genetically like outlier individual with insanely, not like bad, like disproportionately like hungry ghrelin and leptin interactions and signaling. If you're on the opposite side of the spectrum, you're literally like, just don't get hungry. You have like, I don't know, insane leptin receptor, you know, expression, or you have like, you know, a lack of, you know, ghrelin or ghrelin receptor agonism in some contexts, and you just like are never fucking hungry, or you abuse the shit as stimulants or like whatever. Like this, like either way, it's not a healthy thing to be at that calorie amount because it's gonna ultimately be unsustainable for most people. Like with the cardio in there, like your energy expenditure, to put it in perspective, when we had the guy, like a lot of people want to debate about, you know, like metabolic downregulation, you know, how come when I like cut calories, eventually I plateau and then, you know, my metabolism is downregulated and blah, blah, blah. And there's a lot of literature to suggest that it's not as dramatically slowed down as you would expect. And even as you get older, there's a lot of things that work against you that are irrespective of the actual energy expenditure, like hormonal signaling and things that are, there's so many things going awry and like ending up deficient or imbalanced when you're older that fuck things up, along with, you know, some level of decreased energy expenditure, but it's not as significant as you think. Like I think Layne Norton did a video relatively recently on how much your metabolism actually like slows down as you get older. And it's like not as dramatic as you would have otherwise expected for like a, you know, 20-year older person than, you know, in your 20s, you know, everyone's like, oh, it's so easy to lose fat in your 20s. I'm not saying that it's not, that it's, you know, the same in your 40s versus 20s at all. However, there definitely is like a very, very strong highlight that goes in opposition of what the literature suggests and what the science says when it comes to, you know, dieting. And I'm not going to get into a whole, this isn't going to be a video about like calories in versus calories out. It's always calories in, calories out, because Like, no shit. Like, we all fucking know that. Let's not make it that obvious. But starting point, like, where your calorie allotment should be and how hard you deprive yourself. Like, these are things that are a bit more ambiguous and people aren't really sure, like, how hard to cut the calories, what is a sustainable amount long-term, how to go about taking diet breaks if needed, like this kind of stuff. So anyways, this guy, he basically says 1,200 for women, 1,500 for men. He goes on to explain his calorie intake too, which is really fucking low, dude. Like, absolutely mind-boggling for his size. Like, he is a lean, I don't know what he weighs, but it was in like the fucking, I think it was like 240 or 250 or something. I forget what he said in this video. But getting into like a hardcore example of people who are like Charlie. We did the video on Charlie Rocket, who said he can't lose weight even when he's eating in a steep deficit. I think he was eating like 2,300 calories or something, and he wasn't losing weight. And he claims he was counting calories, he's doing all the right shit, taking the right supplements, doing all the exercise, and it's just not working. You know, he has experts in his corner telling him he's, you know, leptin resistant and insulin resistant and this and that. And it's like, yeah, you are, but still, like, at the end of the day, you are over counting shit and under counting expenditure, and there's something unaccounted for here that's like not being factored into the proper, you know, calories and calories out equation. If we have a guy who you literally lock in a cage, like fucking tie his arm to like the god, I don't know, like you fucking handcuff him to a pipe and you're like, you're not going to eat, you're going to sit here for fucking a year. It's like a really morbidly obese guy. And you're like, we're going to give you like a multivitamin and like water, and you're just going to sit here and fucking starve. That person has a shit ton of energy stores. Are they really going to like what's going to happen? Do you think that their metabolism is going to downregulate so much that all of a sudden they just maintain their weight even when they're not eating like almost anything? Like, no, they continue to burn like a lot. This individual, he lost 276 pounds in a year. So imagine that. If you're burning, I don't know, like what are you expending at rest? What's your BMR when you're not doing any activity versus when you're doing activity and lifting and whatnot? You look how much weight he lost. There's, what is it, 3,000 or 3,500 calories in a pound of fat, I think. I forget which it is exactly. I think it's 3,500 off the top of my head. Correct me if I'm wrong on that. But he fasted for a year, so 365 days, and he lost 276 pounds. So like factor that in, like how many days equated to like a pound of weight loss. So like it's not like it downregulated so dramatically that it's like the guy went to like, you know, he needs to eat less than 1,000 calories to keep burning. Like the guy was eating zero. He was eating zero. So when we factor in 276 divided by 365, so 0.756 times, let's just say 3,500 calories in a pound, we get like roughly burning 2,647 calories per day for the entirety of the year, despite not eating anything. So now again, this might have been like perhaps even my math on that might have been a little bit fucked up. But at the end of the day, you can see, I don't know if it was, to be honest. I'm pretty sure it wasn't. Like, again, it would depend on the 3,500 calorie metric I mentioned. But if you have 276 pounds of fat loss over 365 days, of those 365 days, like this is your ratio of fat loss relative to days in the year multiplied by the amount of pounds in a pound of fat. Boom, 2646, or round up to 2647. Now I just pulled that equation out of my ass, to be honest, but I'm pretty sure this would be the equivalent of you're losing, you know, like roughly 0.75 pounds a day, and you're burning approximately 2,646 calories, 2,647, in order to accomplish that 276 pounds of weight loss in a year time span. If my math on that's fucked up, please correct me. But at the end of the day, you can kind of see how straightforward, like I'm trying to lay this out to be, and kind of elucidate how his weight loss is not stagnating or down-regulating to some massive degree where he is not able to burn at like, he has to eat, you know, like sub fucking like 1,800 or something as a male, which is what people often think. They think that, oh, like once I diet at like 1,900 for so long, like now I need to go to 1,700. It's like, no, like the only thing about that is that it's unsustainable because you have your ghrelin and leptin going off the fucking chain, or lack thereof of leptin, and your fucking ghrelin going insane, your dopaminergic like cravings through the fucking roof. All of these things are kind of culminating in a way that's making you literally, you know, scrape extra calories, you know, do a bit less energy expenditure or whatever it is. Like something's not being accounted for if you're not able to lose weight at that point. Because this guy, he did zero. He did literally nothing, but yet his metabolism didn't get like that dramatically worse. You know, he's still able to burn a good amount of average calories per day and continue to lose the weight. And it's not like, no one that is claiming, you know, stagnant weight loss at like 1,500 calories as a male who has a normal functioning like organ systems, you know, thyroid is not hypothyroid, this and that. They don't have some like weird fucking, you know, gut autoimmune issue. No one that has like a normal functioning body is in a worse off like starting point than this guy in terms of obesity. Like most people who are having issues with this they're obese, but they're no worse off than this guy, I would say. So for them to be, anybody to be claiming they need to be eating like sub 1,000 calories, like no, you are either overeating on one day and then having to make up for it by crash dieting on the other days, or you're not counting properly. So I like to use this example because it's a way to elucidate, like literally factually, like this is what happens, not just like, no, you're not just doing calories out, calories in, calories out. Like this is a guy who's literally not doing any calories in, all calories out. And this is the equated result with his metabolism like down-regulating the entire fucking time. So anyways, that's not what this guy is saying necessarily too either. I'm just trying to elucidate a point that I think gives greater insight into the whole kind of debate around the thing. So let's continue.
And it's measured out. I usually end up with around, per the day, I'm staying around 800-900 calories a day through the week.
Okay, so he claims he's eating 800 to 900 calories per day for most of the week. Now let's get into what else he does.
With an hour and a half cardio. And
with an hour and a half of cardio. You know, how intense is that? Probably, you know, low intensity, steady state, walking. You know, he said it doesn't really matter at the end of the day. The guy eating so little, like any energy expenditure on top. If you're doing an hour and a half of cardio while eating that little, like kudos to you, dude. That would be fucking maddening to try and stick with that.
Usually an hour and 20 minutes working out. That's it.
And when I say good on you, I don't mean it in like a good way because this is not a sustainable regimen. So he says, and he does the working out part on top of that too. So let's go back and listen closely.
I'm staying around 800-900 calories a day through the week with an hour and a half cardio and usually an hour and 20 minutes working out. That's every day. So there's a lot of activity going on.
So that much cardio and weight training. It's working out too. Obviously, look at the guy. He's fucking stacked.
Monday through Friday. Now Saturday and Sunday.
Okay, so what happened Saturday and Sunday? Because obviously, if you're actually doing that Monday to Friday, like you'd have to go off the bandwagon, off the rails, like pretty fucking badly on the weekend to account for the fact that you're not a literal like emaciated fucking like dying person right now. Maybe not dying, but you'd be like really goddamn fucking sucked down right now. Like you would not be holding this much size. But let's continue.
I still stay pretty tight on Saturday, but then Sunday, it goes around the toilet bad. I mean, I might eat somewhere up to 5,000 calories. And the problem with that is, if you have a cheat day and you eat that many calories, your body, well, it's like your body goes, what are you doing now? Number one. Number two, it takes you 2 to 3 days to get back into where you're burning extra. You've put so many calories in your body now, even if you eat 100 calories a day, your body still doesn't need that many calories run on. So it's still run on the Saturday or Sunday calories. That's if you cut it way back. If you eat normal, back up 1,500 calories again, you're going to notice a big slowdown in your weight loss.
Yeah, so obviously if you binge and go off the rails on Sunday, you have a lot of catch up to do. Let's just say you're at your 800 calories from Monday to Friday and you keep it tight on Saturday and you do, I don't know, 1,000. Like you're like what? Like with that much expenditure, like you've got to be like over a 2,000 deficit like easily. And then when you factor in your Sunday, like go off the rails day, like how many calories did he say? It was like pretty
tight on Saturday, but then Sunday, it goes around the toilet bad. I mean, I might eat somewhere up to 5,000 calories.
So 5,000 calories on Sunday. So again, like if you're doing an hour and a half of cardio though, and lifting, and you eat 800 on the other days, like I would be shocked that this guy is not like consistently losing like a lot of weight still. Like you've got to be in like a 2,000 plus deficit. And then even on the day you're in a surplus, like how big of a surplus is it really? Like you've got to be burning like fucking 3,500 calories a day, I would say, you know, with the amount of muscle this guy has, with the amount of energy expenditure he has, like it seems kind of odd unless he's like hypothyroid as fuck or like something. But he looks like it otherwise, like, you know, healthy functioning male who's athletic and blah, blah, blah. So it's kind of odd, you know, and it makes you really wonder if you're counting correctly. And I'm not saying, like I am saying, he's probably not counting correctly because at the end of the day, this guy is like so stacked. He looks fucking like really jacked. He is, I don't know how old he is, but like looks solid, you know? I don't think anyone can doubt that this guy is more muscular than 99.9% of people really out there. So at the end of the day, let's continue and let him kind of finish his point before I give my rebuttal.
So it's still run on the The Saturday or Sunday calories, that's if you cut it way back. If you eat normal, back up 1,500 calories again, you're going to notice a big slowdown in your weight loss. The bottom line of all, I keep saying it, I say it so many times, there's no magic pill, and it sucks. It sucks. I go to bed starved to death. You know, I mean, I do. I mean, that's just what I do because I want to look halfway decent. And the older I get, the worse it gets. I mean, it's just put, slow as you can. It sucks. But I mean, I drink a lot of water. I drink a lot of that tea. You guys asked, it's that caffeine-free diet tea from I get it from Kroger. I'm not a big caffeine person. I might drink 1 cup of coffee in the morning. That's about it.
So like I get skeptical when I hear like people, slamming a shit ton of like 0 calorie stuff and adding, the sweeteners, the fucking toppings, the dressings, the spices, the this, the that. Like there is a lot of like 0 calorie stuff out there, but there is some stuff that actually adds up with trace calories. You think you're having like even like popcorn, for example. People have this like fat-free popcorn, which is, great, but it's kind of bland, So some people, they might get, the popcorn seasoning, that's 0 calorie. You have the stuff that's like butter. It's like that seasoning you put on. When you actually factor in what the nutrition fact says, they get away with saying 0 calories because of the minuscule fucking serving size they put on the nutrition label. But in reality, when you extrapolate it out and actually factor in that you're putting on like 15 grams on your entire fucking giant bowl of popcorn, like you could be pushing another, like, I don't know, 50, 100 calories per bowl of popcorn. Like there are a lot of different things, if not more. There are a lot of things that go unaccounted for when dieting. And I think a lot of people are under counting their intake and over accounting for their expenditure. But I think most often, and maybe this is, proved otherwise in the literature as far as, prevalence of reporting, but I would say a lot of people are mostly like using activity monitors to track their calories with expended, which is like not going to be the most accurate measurement in my opinion. I would not really take these with a grain of salt. In addition to that, literally counting every single thing that goes into your fucking mouth. And no one needs to diet on 800 calories or 1,500 or 1,200, or all the different increments he said. Like these are all extreme amounts. For, a chick stepping on stage to get like stage lean, like I understand maybe that the female number he's giving and the excessive amounts of cardio and shit. Like the 30-minute recommendation per day is good, by the way. He's not saying to do what he does. But at the end of the day, like no one needs to eat fucking 1,500 calories as a male who's a good size to get in shape. Like that's baffling. And if you did do something like that, you end up in a situation where one day a week you allow yourself that like mental break to then binge like a motherfucker, gain like how many pounds of temporary weight, a shit ton of water retention, stress around your heart, your kidneys, your whatever. It's not a good cycle when you could otherwise just have a more sustainable approach and meet in the middle, where it's like you enjoy your diet more on the Monday to Saturday, and the Sunday, maybe you have like one cheat meal or something, but you don't feel like you have to binge the whole day because the rest of the week you're more satiated. And yeah, maybe you take a diet break once in a while and you eat at maintenance and try and like reset your leptin and whatnot. But this kind of an approach is literally like the stereotypical like crash diet approach that a lot of celebrities, it seems like, take. A lot of, bodybuilders actually still do. I guess like more modern and some of the more like currently competing ones, no otherwise. But I mean, like a lot of people do this kind of a diet style still, and it's simply not optimal. It is something that's going to make you feel like shit. You're going to be constantly like looking forward to that Sunday day where you can fucking like decimate yourself. Like even The Rock, like The Rock is like the pinnacle example of like masculinity, fucking, the pinnacle of like male everything. And he still has like a cheat day on Sunday. Like I would think if your diet is sustainable enough whereby you were not restricting a little bit too much, like you would not need a cheat. I would say a cheat meal is like reasonable, where you have whatever you want for like one meal. But like a full day of just going ham on like the pancakes, the fucking syrup, the everything, the cookies, the candy, like whatever. I think that's some indicator that what you're doing from Monday to Saturday is like a tad unsustainable, So, and ultimately at the end of the day, the main takeaway from this is choosing a reasonable calorie deficit that's not going to unnecessarily strip muscle off your frame. Because if you go into this deep, 1,500 calorie deficit, you're doing cardio 30 to 1 hour and 30 minutes per day, you're stripping unnecessary lean tissue off your frame, which is going to decrease your metabolism a little bit and make it harder to get into the shape you want, because you're going to look more skinny fat at the end of it too. And it's a bit of a vicious cycle when you can otherwise have a higher protein intake, higher macronutrient intake, and micronutrient intake too. It's really fucking hard to get your micros in when you are eating 1,200 to 1,500 calories, or especially 800. Like at that point, you've got to be relying on like fucking multivitamins, I would assume. And it's just like not an ideal way to go. It's a very, very vicious cycle. And I think it's an unhealthy practice overall. I think trying to maintain like single digit body fat is an argument in itself if it's unhealthy to be doing anyways, but I think most people probably aren't doing that. They're trying to get as close to 10% and staying there year round. And that's individual dependent if that's going to be something you can maintain an adequate hormone profile and high level of, you know, function, vitality in life doing that. But I think ultimately the people who dial their shit in and actually make that sustainable are ones that kind of get this and like know how to count like perfectly and really know like what is going on with their body. Because at the end of the day, a lot of people simply, even though the actual metrics and understanding like how it works, most people get it, but at the same time, they like miscalculate, they miscount, they do this, they do that, they go into too steep of a deficit, put themselves in like a hormonally deficient environment, like unnecessarily, like not even having the substrate to produce the fucking testosterone you want. Like if you're zinc deficient as fuck, if you're deficient in a bunch of different, you know, B vitamins, like how is that going to be optimal for, you know, preserving muscle tissue or preserving thyroid function or preserving whatever? Like there's a lot of things that get affected down the line, which indirectly will affect your energy expenditure and make it so you're burning less. And then you're, you know, dipping deeper into the deficit on your Monday to Saturday because with your Sunday binge to keep losing. Like it's just not the ideal way. And at the end of the day, the takeaway is this guy ate fucking nothing and still lost quite like at a good rate. The guy did not have his metabolism, you know, crash into nothingness that would have, if he ate in a deficit, it wouldn't have warranted him having to go to 1,200 calories to get to where he wanted. Like the guy clearly demonstrated that his consistent deficit territory was like, you know, representative of what seems to not be like severe metabolic slowdown where you're like, you know, somehow putting around with like an 800 calorie energy expenditure per day. Like that just doesn't really make sense to me. So anyways, that is the takeaway. Let me know what you guys think in the comments down below. All the comments help the algorithm. They're much appreciated. Like, subscribe. Check out my blog, moreplates.com. Follow me on Instagram, moreplates.8, Facebook, Snapchat, Twitter, TikTok, a couple podcasts if you want to support the channel. You can check out anything I'm associated with in the video description below. My preventative medicine hormone replacement therapy platform. Get connected with high quality medical oversight and get high quality diagnostics and interpretation of those diagnostics for pretty much anything. We're turnkey. We have the most cutting edge selection of biomarkers and access to those biomarkers, a cost-efficient price point for singled out biomarkers as well, with a self-service labs builder where you can build your own panel at checkout. In addition, high-quality providers who understand the most cutting-edge literature on endocrinology and pharmacology and can give you high-quality oversight for all your needs. It's not just pharmacology related. It is also about interpreting the actual diagnostics, you know, determining lifestyle interventions, dietary manipulations, nutrient deficiencies, imbalances, etc. So you can check that out if you want to get access to some high quality medical care, as well as Gorilla Mind nootropic formulas, Gorilla Mode pre-workout formulas designed myself from scratch, as well as anything else I'm associated with, clothing company that sponsors me. Recommended diet model for gaining muscle and sports performance. Again, something directly relevant to this video. I would highly recommend, if you don't know how to approach a muscle growth focused and strength building focused diet model, you check it out. They have not just, it's like an ebook that breaks down like what you need to know about macros and micros, gut health, etc. But in addition to that, it has example diets in the ebook with different calorie allotments based on your like individual needs. It's not like a completely customized approach, but it's like you can definitely pick out a diet that's pretty goddamn close to your needs, and it's pretty turnkey where it's essentially ready to go with the calorie allotment you need. And you can adjust accordingly based on your own goals a little bit for energy expenditure, like how intense your training is and whatnot, but they're pretty fucking turnkey for most people. So I would recommend checking it out if you have no idea where to start when creating a high quality diet model from a micronutrient standpoint, as well as a macronutrient standpoint. And anything else I'm associated with, it's all in the video description below. Thank you guys for watching. Talk to you soon.